Hello, and welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're looking into something quite interesting. The UK's role, its significant part, really, in the recent surge in tourism across Europe.
It's a fascinating topic, definitely.
We've got some compelling source material, and our mission, if you like, is to unpack what's driving this uptick and, how the UK fits in, both contributing and maybe facing some challenges, too.
That's a good way to put it. Is the UK riding the waves smoothly, or are there undercurrents?
Exactly. And to help us sort through it all, we're joined again by a leading tourism analyst with, well, over 2 decades in the field. It's great to have your insights with us.
Thanks for having me back. It's a really timely discussion, I think.
Okay, let's jump in. So Europe's definitely seeing a big rise in tourism. What's the big picture? What's behind this boom?
Well, the main thing, unquestionably, is the pent-up demand.
Yeah.
After the pandemic restrictions, people are just eager to travel again.
Right. Cabin fever finally breaking.
Precisely. And the numbers back it up. Global tourism pretty much hit pre-pandemic levels in 2024. We're talking 1.4 billion international travelers.
Wow, 1.4 billion.
Yeah, and that's an 11% jump from 2023. So it shows a real resilience and desire to travel despite, everything else going on.
That's a huge increase. And how does the UK fit into that specifically? It's not just about inbound visitors, right?
No, not at all. The UK is kind of playing two roles here. It's a major source of outbound tourists, lots of Brits heading to Europe, but it's also a really attractive destination itself, drawing people in and boosting those European numbers overall. And certain events have given it a real push.
Like what sort of events?
Or think about something like Taylor Swift's Eras Tour. That was a global phenomenon, right?
Absolutely massive.
Huge numbers traveled internationally for that, including to the UK dates. And then you have things like the Olympics, which always drive a big tourism spike for the host.
For sure, those mega events.
Yeah, and we even saw Heathrow reporting a record summer, partly because of people coming for things like that. It's not just the main event either. It's hotels, restaurants, shops.
Yeah.
The whole local economy gets a lift.
So the UK is definitely a key player, both sending and receiving tourists. Let's focus for a moment on the Brits going abroad. What trends are we seeing there?
What's interesting is a bit of a shift back towards package holidays.
Really? Package deals?
Yeah. With flight and hotel prices climbing across Europe, those fixed price deals are looking, well, much more appealing again. You know what you're paying up front.
That makes sense, especially with, the cost of living pressures. Certainty is valuable.
Exactly. It provides that predictability. And it's not just cost either. We've seen quite a few travel disruptions lately, strikes and whatnot.
Ah, right. The flight cancellations.
So having that package deal offers a bit more security, a kind of protection if things go wrong.
So value and security seem to be top priorities, understandable. But is there a downside to all these Brits heading off, maybe for the places they visit?
That definitely brings up the issue of over-tourism. It's a growing worry in a lot of popular spots.
Especially places Brits traditionally love.
Yes, precisely. And some destinations are starting to take action. Palma de Mallorca, for instance, and Barcelona, too.
What are they doing?
They've announced plans to actually cap visitor numbers, especially in the peak summer months. It's a direct response to the strain on resources, overcrowding, all the negative impacts.
Interesting. Proactive management. Okay, let's flip back to the UK as the destination. You mentioned growth and people coming to the UK. Where are they coming from?
Well, one area to watch is the Middle East. We're expecting a really significant surge from there in 2025.
From the Middle East?
Yeah, particularly tourists from the UAE and other GCC countries, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Qatar, and so on. The projection is for their combined spending here to hit about £3.5 billion.
3.5 billion. Wow.
Which would be a 27% increase on 2024. So it's a substantial jump.
What's driving that particular increase, do you think?
It seems to be a mix of things. Stronger economic ties, growing cultural links, maybe targeted promotion efforts paying off. The UK is seen as a desirable spot for GCC travelers.
And what about the more traditional markets, like the US?
The US is still absolutely key, very much leading the recovery for UK inbound tourism. In fact, the 2023 numbers showed record spending by American visitors.
Record spending, even with inflation.
Yeah, even adjusted for inflation, their spending was up 28% compared to 2019. That's a huge real terms increase.
28%. That's remarkable. Why such a big jump from US visitors?
It's likely a few things. The enduring cultural pull the UK has for Americans, good flight connections, perhaps favorable exchange rates at certain points too.
Okay, so the inbound picture looks strong in places, but are there challenges lurking for the UK tourism sector overall?
Yes, unfortunately, it's not all positive. Despite these bright spots, there are some significant headwinds. The World Travel and Tourism Council, the WTTC, they actually put out a pretty strong statement.
Oh, what did they say?
They accuse the UK government of, and this is their word, potentially sabotaging the industry.
Sabotaging. That's a very strong language. What's their reasoning?
Well, their data shows that while international visitors spent a lot, 40.3 billion in 2024, that figure was still 2 billion less than in 2019 before the pandemic hit.
2 billion short of pre-pandemic levels.
Exactly. And the WTTC argues this is partly down to government policies that create barriers for travelers.
Like what specific policies?
The main ones they point to are getting rid of tax-free shopping for international visitors and also the increases in air passenger duty, the tax on flights.
Right, the tourist tax discussions.
They argue these make the UK more expensive and, frankly, less attractive compared to competing destinations in Europe.
So they're saying these policies are actively putting tourists off. What's the government's take on this?
Well, a spokesperson defended their current strategy for promoting tourism. They've also said they're planning to launch a new national visitor economy strategy.
A new strategy. Any details on that?
The main goal they've stated is pretty ambitious, attracting 50 million international visitors a year by 2030.
50 million. Okay, that's a big target. Be interesting to see how they plan to hit that, given the WTTC's concerns. Let's zoom in a bit. How's tourism playing out regionally within the UK? Any standout successes?
Absolutely. Liverpool's a really good example of a city doing well. Their tourism sector is now worth nearly 5 billion pounds a year. That's huge for the local economy.
5 billion for Liverpool. Impressive.
Yeah, and by 2022, they were getting around 80 million visitor trips to the city center annually.
What's behind Liverpool's success?
It's probably a mix. Their cultural heritage, obviously, the music scene, but also sustained investment in tourism infrastructure and clever marketing. And hosting Eurovision in 2023 gave them another big boost.
Ah, yes, Eurovision. That brought in extra crowds.
An estimated extra 100,000 tourists, yeah. Really put them on the map again globally.
But you mentioned challenges elsewhere, Scotland specifically.
Yeah, that's right. While tourism is vital for many parts of Scotland, especially rural areas, there are growing concerns about recent price hikes. It seems they might be starting to put people off both Brits and international visitors.
Price hikes. Can you give an example?
Yeah, hotel costs in some really popular spots like the Isle of Skye have reportedly gone through the roof. We're talking about seeing nightly rates as high as £800 sometimes.
£800 a night on Skye.
Exactly. And prices like that risk deterring even quite well-off travelers, potentially damaging Scotland's image as, an accessible destination.
That kind of pricing could definitely have an impact. So looking forward then, what should the UK be focusing on to keep its tourism sector healthy and maybe more sustainable?
Sustainability is key, absolutely. We're seeing a definite rise in demand for ecotourism, for more environmentally friendly travel options. Consumers are driving this.
Right. People are more conscious of their impact.
Yeah, and the UK has a real chance to lead in that area. Beyond that, leveraging digital technology is vital. Well, so much travel planning and booking happens online now. Digital marketing, booking platforms. Online travel spending is hitting records. The UK needs to keep innovating digitally to make the whole experience smoother, from planning the trip right through to being here.
Enhancing that digital journey. Makes sense. Well, this has been incredibly insightful, a real deep dive into the complexities of UK tourism right now. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise with us.
My pleasure. It's good to talk it through.
And thank you out there for tuning in to the Deep Dive here on Westferry Times. We hope you found this exploration useful. Thank you for watching Westferry Times. Do subscribe to the channel if you haven't already so you don't miss our next deep dive. We'll be looking into T's next topic briefly. Until then, goodbye.